Hi guys, welcome back to Iron Kaiser Gaming. I've got another really fun Age of Empires 2 video I just had to share with you. You're really going to enjoy this one. In fact, this is the game that I promised you at the end of the last game that went to YouTube. If you haven't seen that one, I'd encourage you to go back and watch that video because that one was a lot of fun. It was all about pressure. And in that game, it was this all-in feudal army and trying to survive against that force. It was a really fun match, a really tough battle. And I told you at the end of that video, I had another one coming that was also going to be all about pressure, but a very different kind of pressure. And a very fun match indeed. This is the one. Buckle in, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we find ourselves on African clearing. It's an early nomad kind of start. And that leaves us time to talk. And you've heard me say before on this channel, you've heard my casting buddy Hiram mention it too. We love the Age of Empires community. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the nature of the game. It starts out a little slower. Maybe it has a more mature audience. But people tend to be nice in Age of Empires. Not always. There are some bad apples, but it is a fun community. And people just get along well. You know, I play other games. I'll play things like League of Legends sometimes and you know, Fortnite. Just different games. I've played them, and there's no community that has been just as generally you random into nice, welcoming people as Age of Empires. And so, Sneaky Steve here, you see we're talking back and forth, you know, just having a conversation about the game and the new DLC and what do we think of different maps, you know, as we're building our TCs. It's just a lot of fun, and he was a really good opponent. And my hat is off to you, Steve. If you're out there watching this, this was a really, really fun game, and I enjoyed playing with him as an opponent. So, you know, my hat's off to him. One thing that I'll highlight, because, you know, the eco in the early game in the Dark Age, it can be a little slow, but there are intricacies and nuances that I think are very revealing. What Steve has done is built his town center by a lake. So early on, he has a really nice food situation. In fact, yeah, it's really nice. Not only does he have the lake, but then he also has 8 goats, and then he's got 3 deer or zebra, and then he has 2 rhinos, right? He's in a really, really, really good spot. I, on the other hand, and when I play African Clearing, what I typically do is build my town center up against the wood line, and that gives you a secure wood economy. It means that your villagers, right out of the gate, they're producing they're gathering their wood, and there's virtually no runtime. You know, no walking back and forth from the tree to the lumber mill. You're just right there at the town center. So early on, it's great for your wood eco, and if you're getting raided later on, well, again, it's very well protected. And that's something that you rarely have in an Arabia situation or well, let's just say Arabia for now. And Steve he says he's going to check out my YouTube channel. And I did get some comments from him on some of my previous videos, so I know he's out there. And fortunately, thank you for not plastering them with bad comments. I definitely laughed when I first got it. This was great. The banter, I love it. I love it. So anyway, he has a really, really strong food eco, and I think that's going to work well for him. I sort of got unlucky in that when I put my TC up next to the wood line, what I'm counting on and hoping for is that my vills, as they walk around, they're going to gather a bunch of sheep, you know, and I'll at least stay competitive to whatever my opponent is doing. Well, not in this case. He got 8 sheep, I got 2. I had the 1 rhino that kept me alive, but then I got to march all the way out. And this is maybe me at my most vulnerable. If he were to, you know, tech up to the feudal age and get scouts out right away and catch me out here on the fishing eco, I might be doomed because I'm doing rough food-wise. The early game is not going so hot for me. It's not bad, but could be better. Both of us are doing very well with our idle TC times. You know, 7 and 8 seconds respectively. That's virtually neck and neck. But yeah, he's got a lot of extra food kind of in the bank, if you will, with all those extra goats. For me, not so much. Now, here's what I do have. On my side of things, as I was moving, one of my vills started right here, and he's marching along, and I happened to see the treaty time barrier. You know, the game starts you off with that treaty that, the treaty that says you can't attack within this zone of the town center being built for the next 5 minutes or until both TCs are up, right? I happened to see that little barrier as he was walking by, so I knew he was out here, right? To my knowledge, and Steve, you can tell me if I'm wrong, to my knowledge, he did not know that I was here. Now, he does know, well, I guess his Ville started way out there, so yeah, he got to scout more of the map. When I'm looking at the scoreboard was making me sweat. He's up almost like 140 points or something like that. But I was kind of thinking, well, maybe he was able to scout more of the map. But to my knowledge, he doesn't know where I am. That's a big giant question mark. So I do have a reconnaissance advantage, that intelligence advantage that he's missing out on. So hopefully, my thought process was, I'll try to go for a fast castle into a castle drop and, blow him up because I know where he is. He doesn't know where I am. Maybe I can surprise him, right? I did not count on him, of course, having so much more food. So this is going to be a really, really interesting game. I'm trying to like band-aid this together and just do as much as I can with as little food as I've got. I'm counting on these fishermen over here. You guys, keep it going. You are the lifeblood of the Empire. I live and die on the backs of this carp, these minnows. So, yeah. And here we go. Steve is on his way up to the feudal age now. I do not yet have half the food I need to go up to the feudal age. So this is, again, I opened this up by talking about sort of a different strategic situation. Right now, this is really panning out for Steve. I think this is a really, really good situation. And I did not try to, drush him. Maybe that would have been a good idea. Maybe if I could have slipped in some, Dark Age, militia. But that is risky because, again, if you're going up against somebody who, like me, has their TC up against the wood line, well, what are you going to attack? If you're lucky, they're up against the wood line, but they don't have any food eco, like me. And so, you can go out here and find fishermen and harass them, but otherwise, that you've wasted all of those precious early resources on a drush that can't do anything. That's dangerous. So I'm really happy and proud of the fact that as rough as my start has been, I've kept my idle TC time at 13 seconds. And, I threw down a lot of farms. That's what you should always do. If you find yourself, even on matches like Arabia, if you find yourself on a match like Arabia, and, you have your boar lured, or several sheep are stolen, and you're asking yourself, well, what do I do now? I've lost all of my sheep. What you want to do is get down more farms early, and they will kind of help get you through. So Steve, he has not had to put down any farms. He is still going on those sheep. That's the power of, scouting out early. Maybe there's some luck involved, but I also think that, that's part of it is, again, the strategic situation. Moving your vills around in such a way that you're gathering those sheep. For me, I prioritize getting the TC up as quickly as possible, and I miss out on sheep as a result. And here he is. He's up to Castle Age. I am still in the Dark Age. In any second now, I'll hit Feudal, and then bam. Note, by the way, again, yeah, fast castle, so he throws down a market, he throws down a blacksmith, and he's good to go. Now, he is the Koreans, and the Koreans are one of the best tower rushing civilizations in the game. So, what you do, typically when you do a fast castle, you'll throw it on a market and a blacksmith. That is a really strong opening. It gets you into the castle age very quickly. There are a lot of powerful units and powerful upgrades in the castle age. It does mean, what happens a lot of times, and this is one example, that he currently has no military on the field. It's all economy. It is pure economic aggression. And what he's doing beyond that is going heavy into the stone. And so I think that Steve's game plan is get up to castle and start throwing down towers. The towers are cheaper for the Koreans. I forget off the top of my head if they are cheaper by age. I'll actually go ahead and check that real quick. No, I'm sorry. It's, the tower upgrades are free. So, and the stone miners work faster. The towers are not cheaper. That's the Inca bonus. It's that the stone miners work faster. So you gather the necessary stone for castles and second town centers and, of course, watchtowers much faster as the Koreans. So meanwhile, I was kind of going for a fast castle myself. That was my game plan. Drop a castle on his face. So I've got the resources to go up to castle. And there we go. I just got the building necessary. In the meantime, I have sent out a single militiaman. His goal is not to kill anything. It's not even really to distract. In fact, the fact that I got these 3 vills off of stone is something of a surprise. I'm surprised he didn't just attack. But then again, he wanted to get a castle up. So his only goal is to get more intelligence, figure out what's going on in Steve's base. Meanwhile, I am continuing to desperately expand to take advantage of as many natural resources as possible. I'm sweating bullets at this point. He's already up to the castle age. And, so my goal was to fast castle into a castle drop. He's already up to castle. He is the Koreans. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm worried. Now, fortunately, this is one of the ways where the game goes well for me. And this is some good advice. And the reason why I've done things like my Average Age Plays series, or why, like I said in my last video, I like to random. Know the different civilizations and know their strengths, because more often than not, your opponent will want to play to your civilization's strengths. I was going to put down a mill just to gather the fish, and then I see this giant castle. Nope! I'm out of there. Yeah. And I think I am going to lose a couple bills here. Yeah, Vil goes down. So, here, I'm throwing down a second castle, and he's already got 1 castle down. And here he comes with a second castle. At this point, mentally, I am thinking game over. He is already strong enough that he can get down 2 castles faster than I can get my 1 down. There's no way that, fast castle into castle drop wins me this game. But, like I was saying, learn the different civilizations, learn their strengths. And one of the things that I was aware of is, as Koreans, honestly, I forgot about the stone bonus. That wasn't even on my mind. It was more about the archers. As the Koreans, you get the archer armor upgrade immediately for free as you tech up. And they like to go archers. And so I thought, oh, well, you know what I'll do? To try to even the odds, I will go heavy into skirmishers. And maybe I'll counter him if he goes deep into archers. And that'll be my saving grace. And when I saw the Korean war wagon, I thought, oh, well, okay, that's a fair option too, because they count as cavalry archers. So, skirmishers counted them too. But at this point, I am worried. I'm looking at the scoreboard. I see we're both in the castle age. 2,200 to 1,700. A little bit of that might be scouting. Maybe. No way is that 500 points worth of difference. Yeah, I am thinking he must be wiping the floor with me. I kind of get lucky there and snipe a couple of ills, and that tells me, yeah, you hear me. 2 castles, that's a lot of stone. Exactly right. And that is me mentally, I'm thinking about the GG. I'm thinking any minute now, the other shoe's going to drop. But this is the pressure I was talking about. I am feeling macro pressure. I'm feeling like he must have a way better economy than me. And sure enough, he has 2 town centers to my 1. So the potential is with him. I am sort of lucky because the idle TC time. Yeah, I think he's gone so heavy into wood, so heavy into stone, that, you know, he's a little bit weaker on the food side. Once he ran out all those sheep and the rhinos, you know, he didn't have the farms that I had. So he's kind of having to start from scratch as far as that goes. And that buys me precious, precious time. I'm keeping up eco-wise. But I'm clicking my castle, I'm clicking his. His came up first, so, you know, if it's castle versus castle, he wins that battle, right? But it is in range of the starting town center. That was the game plan. And you'll see, back at home, I'm keeping more skirms going. And my hope, I am crossing my fingers going, please, 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 do the predictable thing and go archers. Or go, I wasn't even really thinking about war wagons. But go war wagons. That'll work too. You know, and maybe I can stay alive long enough to get us up a second town center, try to stabilize my economy, because I'm figuring he must be really far ahead of me. Maybe I can get up enough of an eco to stay compatible, you know, and maybe I can somehow pull a victory from the jaws of defeat. And this right here, I think this is the moment that... This is I'll just put it this way. I think this is a move that Steve could have played this a little differently and gotten some advantage out of it. Now, he doesn't know what I've got, but he knows he's got the lead. I mean, if he looks at the scoreboard, he's got to know that he's got the lead. So maybe he doesn't know where I am. Actually, that's a big part of it. One thing, when I was scouting with my militia, something that I purposefully did is I did not go straight from my base to his. I did not want to give away where I was coming from. Instead, I looped around up at the top and then came in from kind of from the south, right? And that was on purpose. I wanted to hide my base. Now, he maybe can guess that I'm here because the castle's here. And what I would have done if I were him is I would have sent a couple of vills forward and dropped some towers on my base. If he could find some vulnerability, like... Maybe he sees the stone, or maybe he can range this gold and get me off of that. That's probably GG. Instead, he went for the defensive towers, which is fine, but now you've got war wagons versus skirms, and at least as far as the gold value, that will work for me. So right now you see, yeah, he's got 912, gold in these units versus me. I've got 30. What is that? Well, it doesn't say. I guess I really don't have much in the way of gold. These are trash units. So, but you can imagine. I mean, I put some food and some wood into these skirms. I don't like losing them. He does win the battle, but I think it's a Pyrrhic victory because these war wagons are really expensive. Skirmishers are not. And in the long run, that means I feel like maybe I've got a chance. I'm evening up the odds here. He is, I think, doing the right thing by building out his food economy. But here's the critical moment. All right, 2 things are going on. One, I selected my castle and just decided I'm not going to win the duel against that castle anyway, so destroy the town center. That's what I did. And now he's down in TC. That's pretty good. Now he's got 2 more, so it's not like it ruined him, but it helps. It doesn't hurt. So I got some damage in with my castle. The other thing is I have clicked up to the Imperial Age. He's given me time and an opportunity to breathe. Here again, it's another tower. This tower, it kind of protects the stone. It protects the relic, but it's not really going to hamper me that much. It's more of a defensive tower, and I think there's an opportunity to go on the offense and, really put the screws to me. All right, but I've hit Imp. This is the key moment. I am in the Imperial Age, and he is not. I know I have to make... Look at this. I'm in Imperial Age, he's not, and he's still up 400 points on me. I know he's winning this game. This has got me so scared. I have somehow got to do something. So my game plan, go up to the Imperial Age and immediately get out trebuchets. Maybe I can knock down these castles. Maybe I can do some damage before he gets up to Imp himself. And again, the lucky thing for me is he's really not that close to the Imperial Age. He's kind of low on food. He's got a lot of guys on stone. He's got a fair number on gold. High idle TC times and focus on other things has left his food eco, kind of lagging. And so I had this moment. If he were to go up to Imperial Age right now, I think I'm just done. But instead, I've got a moment. This is another thing. He goes into petards. 1 petard down, 2 petards down, and then 3 petards. All of the resources that you put into the petards, yeah, that's just gone. Wasted. I got skirms here to kind of back up my trebuchets just in case, if he went heavy into those war wagons, or, if he goes archers, we've got a response at the ready. Here we go, 4th trebuchet, go all in on the trebs. Because the name of the game is not just getting trebuchets, but getting a critical mass of trebuchets. And here we go. So I got 4. I'm feeling pretty good now, and he still hasn't hit Imp yet. I'm wondering, anytime now it's gonna be. I do love that he chose one of the back town centers to go up. If he had picked this town center, well, what happens if I knock it down? I had a game where I had an opponent. He was going up to the next age, and it was the forward town center. And, I'm on the offense, and I take it down with, 2% left. And he GG'd because, he was losing anyway, and that was just the last straw. At this point, I'm going Berserk. I have no blacksmith upgrades for my Berserks. I have very few blacksmith upgrades at all. And that bothers me. I'm a huge blacksmith guy, but, I was trying to make do with everything I had. So, getting Berserk out because I'm going heavy into the skirms. I'm thinking, boy, if I get hit with anything that's not archers, I'm in real trouble, and I don't want to lose these trebs. So, yeah, here we go. Fortunately, so he goes in with the war wagons, and I've got a couple of spears and skirms. They're count as cav archers, so they deal bonus damage to both. Yeah, that works for me. Now, what I'm not aware of, let's switch back to my view. I don't know where he is, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe I'm winning this thing. I see 1 castle, I see 1 town center. So I'm thinking, okay, I know I took down 2 TCs, maybe this is a 3rd. Oh, there's a 4th TC, what in the world? And I have no idea there's even a 5th town center. So he is doing a great job spreading across the map. I think he's channeling his inner MBL, the cockroach, and he is keeping himself alive. And again, he's hit the Imperial Age now. He still has more villagers than I do. Right? So I've got kind of a momentum, but if I let up off the gas, he wins this thing. Back at home, I still only have 2 town centers. I'm trying to keep them going, trying to keep that economy flowing, figuring out what I need. And at this point, I think I maybe make a mistake here. Do I? No, okay, so I've got the 1 keep. They were attacking that, but instead of attacking the keeps, I want to come back, and there's sort of an annoyance. I've got skirms back here. I want to move them to the front line, but then you got the guard tower, right? They're annoying. So I do want to take them out, but, when you're on the offense, another bit of advice I can give is to prioritize your targets. Understand what needs to go now and what can survive till later. The keeps aren't really damaging me. Leave them alone. You can come back and deal with them when, things are safer. Right now, I don't want him getting any trebuchets of his own up. If I can shut down war wagon production, that's a bonus too. Take out the castles. Take out the town centers. Try to put the crimp on his eco production. Right? So, yeah, here we go. War wagon goes down. He doesn't have a lot in the way of an army right now. And, of course, I don't have the numbers in front of me while I'm playing, but I can tell, if he's only got that 1 war wagon and a couple of infantrymen. But I do notice, wait a minute, what was that? Was that 2-handed swordsman? No, he's researching two-handed swordsman right now. So that was long swordsman. So they're long swordsman. I know he's going into infantry. And I'm hoping my berserks will do the job. 6 berserks and 20 skirmishers behind. Maybe he'll just keep going archers, right? We'll never assume the worst of your opponent. And sure enough, great move. I love this move. Going heavy into infantry. I don't think infantry gets played enough. And this is a really, really solid choice. Yeah, as Koreans, you want to go archers. That's like your specialty. But don't be so fixated on your civs bonuses that you ignore the lay of the land and what the game is telling you you need to do. Against a situation like this, skirms and trebuchets, a good mass of infantry will absolutely push this back. So right now he's going in, and he is sort of trickling in infantry 2 or 3 at a time. That's dangerous because I can pick off, 1 or 2 infantry. I can handle that. But now we're starting to see, wait a minute. That's 8 now, that's 9. What do we got here? Yeah, he's now up to 11 infantry. And this, I don't know what happened. I can tell you right now, I'm back at my economy. I'm over here getting my blacksmith going. I'm working on my farming eco. And then I look over, and all of a sudden my skirms have just decided to sing Kumbaya with the enemy two-handed swordsman. And I lost a bunch of guys that I do not want to lose. All right, but they go down, and now I've only got 3 berserks. That will not be enough to stop the two-handed swordsman. Yeah, my berserks all died just in time for the chainmail armor to come in. That is the worst, is when you've teched up a blacksmith upgrade and your units die right before it would have been useful, But yeah, that's what it is. I've lost trebuchets. I'm pulling them back. And what I'm hoping, what this pans out, yeah, he loses guys. I don't think he had to lose there. I think I get maybe some desperation to try to knock out the trebs, but I think he should have pulled them back, try to keep them alive, and continue to mass up, a critical number back at home. So I've taken the eco lead. I got enough damage to where I've got an eco lead now, but he still has plenty of resources for, he's building another market. He can build more town centers. He is not out of this game by a long shot. On my end, now, see here, now this is the time I can go back and deal with those annoying keeps. I can't go on the offense, right? I've got to build up, an army to now respond to the new threat, right? So I can't really go on the offense, but I got these trebs. They would be sitting around doing nothing otherwise. Go ahead and knock out those keeps, Clear up some map control for yourself. And that's also the other thing I'm doing. I've stayed on stone, and I want to claim this territory. I want to make sure he doesn't go back to his old base. And, claim these resources. What is this? This is 800... About 1,000 gold right here. He's got stone. I'm going to want to claim that. I don't want you on this stone, Steve. No, I'm trying to win this game. So, yeah, I'm going to move forward with Vils and start now my own economic expansion into my enemy's old territory. And here we go. This is my response. I had the archer ranges, so why not? Vikings used to have amazing arbalest. And the reason why is because they're crossbowmen now, but they had a fully upgraded tech tree for their crossbows, and their eco was so strong that you could just afford a massive crossbow army. So as far as the meta and the pros go, it used to be all about the crossbowmen for the Vikings. They no longer get thumb ring, if I remember right, so they aren't quite as good. It's either the thumb ring or... No, I'm sorry, we do get ballistic. So yeah, they don't get thumb ring anymore. And so they're not quite as good as they used to be. But they're still a really, really solid option, especially if you have an opponent going into infantry, right? So here we go. No, I'm sorry. This was the moment. I looked away. And somehow I misclicked, and my crossbows just decide, hey, Buddies, how's it going? So this was really frustrating. I lose a good number of archers. I am about to lose all my trebs. Oof. Oof, indeed. And Steve is doing a great job holding on. Great job holding on. But I think the danger that he finds himself in now is... Clearly, I'm going into Arbalest. I'm teching up into that. I've got all of the attack upgrades, and I'm working on my armor upgrades too. I'm going to build up a mass. Something else I was going to say too that he did really well. He used the market very effectively early on. I think if we rewind the clock and those 2 castles early on, part of that was using the market very effectively. And that's something that for your own games you should keep an eye on is how can I use the market? Am I floating thousands of wood or thousands of food that I don't need? Use the market. That's what I'm trying to do now in this stage of the game. Yeah, he's in a really tough situation. He teched into archers first, like war wagons. He can't really use them against the Arbalest. They do have a good number of pierce armor, so it wouldn't be a terrible choice, but I'm going to have such a mass that he would need a lot of war wagons in order for that to be a cost-effective win. And infantry do get shot down by Arbalest. You know, at this point now, if he's trickling them in 2 or 3 at a time, my guys will just shoot him down before he can get there. So now what do you do? He needs to go maybe skirmishers, or if he's got the gold, he could try to build a siege workshop in the back and go mangonel. But even then, you need to tech up into onager or siege onager, and you need to get siege engineers in order to outrange Imperial Age Arbalest. It's a tough situation. His only other option is go skirmishers. You know, do the move that I was doing at the beginning of this match. Go ahead and do your skirms. And he does have the wood for it. He kind of has the food for it, but then he wants the food for building up his eco too. This is tough. The eco's on par. I mean, I'm ahead, but only by 16 vills. But the army differential is pretty big. So these barracks finally go down. And again, I was even here. I'm looking at the scoreboard. I think, wow, okay. You know, the score looks nice for me. I'm probably winning. I'm feeling pretty good about that. But even then, what I'm seeing is, he keeps moving. Like the NBL. He is cockroaching it up. And I have lost games where I was winning hard at one point in the match, but I let my opponent expand. I let him breathe. And I was still worried. Am I giving him too much breathing room? So that's kind of what I've got in my mind here. Yeah, and he's massing up war wagons. I think this is the move you've got to make as Steve. This is the right choice, because anything else that you could do, skirmishers or siege onager, it's going to take too long, and you have to commit too many resources. You already have the techs for war wagons, so if you can just get up a sizable mass, they've got loads of pierce armor, and maybe we can do something, right? So he's going to go into a battle. He decides to commit, and he's doing damage to my guys, but I have 50 plus Arbalest at this point, and he was coming at me with 10 war wagons. The numbers just are not enough, and so he's going to lose his 4th castle, and he will call the GG. An incredible game, an incredible match, and one of those times where early on I felt like, no way am I winning this thing. No way am I winning this. I think that the only reasons I won were, again, a little bit of idle TC time early on from Steve, and maybe I got lucky in that he was so focused on the defense. If that 2nd castle, if he had committed to popping that down, if he had found me, and really I think that makes and breaks the game right there, is the fact that I knew where he was from the beginning and he didn't know where I was. That's probably the main thing. If he knew where I was and he drops that 2nd castle onto my face, I can't survive that. And he wins. In fact, I think even after, if he realized this castle means I'm probably right here, if he sent those villas and dropped some towers down on me, I probably lose. I don't have what it takes. Maybe my skirms could push it back, maybe, but maybe not. But that's an example of sort of macroeconomic pressure, and it's a very different game from the last one that I recorded, but the principle is the same. Stay calm, stay focused, and figure out, what do I need to do in order to win this thing? What do I need to produce in order to turn it around? Ask yourself the question, if there is a win, what does it look like? Kind of start at the end and work your way backwards. Start at, somehow I win this game, and then figure out from there, what steps would I have to take to make that happen? And in this case, it was all about getting to Imperial Age as quickly as possible, getting some trebs out, and just trying to get some momentum going. And in this case, it actually worked. Steve, you were an awesome opponent. This was a great game. Thanks so much for playing it. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Please, if you would, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And share with me some examples of AoE games you've had where you were behind and you somehow pulled it back. What does that look like? What was going through your mind? Share it with me in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.